Live streaming is on.
Hello, world. My name is Gerry Fialka. It is January 22, 2021. It's a real big thanks to Clinton Ignatov for facilitating today. And it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with Thomàs Nordegg. Thomàs, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Totally. I can't believe it.
Yeah. The first question is, what's the best thing for a human being?
Well, number one is, and proven a gazillion times, is your health. Roman one,
Yeah.
by the way. I mean, that's it. End of story. As long as you're healthy, really, that's it. If you're not healthy, then you are, the word. So,
Yeah, that was
and
good.
Steve Jobs, a parade example. Well, how about Frank Zappa, by the way, dying at 52 with 80 released albums. So there you have it.
Yeah. But Thomàs, do you think it is more lifestyle choice or genetics, the longevity of a human's life? It's both, but what do you think is more?
It's definitely lifestyle related, no question. If you look sort of after yourself, and try you are what you eat and stuff like that, then I would say that of course there's genetics. I'm sure, yeah, of course, like the lion doesn't look like a zebra and whatever, so it's all there's all that too. But as long as I think. In accordance with the laws of nature, if you operate in that mechanism, I think, I mean, me, I will never, even if I had Bezos' money, make it to the gym in the morning, but I run all day. So, in terms of, gotta move, like I remember now I'm 75. So the word retirement I hear. So I try to say, what does that mean? Retire is you sit down and wait, basically. Something like that. It's weird.
Yeah.
But,
Thomàs, what's your favorite form of information, how it comes into you?
uh, well, uh, God, it is obviously visual, in today's world, and I hate to admit, but and Frank Zappa's one of his top lyrics, 1973 overnight sensation. I am the slime on the video. Nothing can beat that. You read that out loud now, and it's like it just happened. It's still happening, and it happened all the time since. So, but yeah, I get it. I guess through the media, what I absorb, in my opinion, like I said, the recent years to me beyond, I cannot. What do I say to that? Well,
Well, you said
hope,
you
hope
said
I
you
have a
said it well.
problem here because my volume on my iPad is up all the way, but I barely hear you.
You barely hear me. Okay. So maybe I'll speak louder. Can you hear me now?
Well, now I can hear you better. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's good. So the next question is, if you had to, you said visuals important. If you had to lose your hearing or your eyesight, which one would you choose to keep? You have to lose one or the other. You have to
Wow.
lose your hearing or the eye. What's more
That's
important for you?
that is a tough one. I mean, if you just to say, if you hear think about Stevie Wonder, what there's nobody like Stevie Wonder. That's actually the most music I think I would have to say in my life that I listen to is Stevie Wonder because it just
Right.
right. It's so deep and so and relevant and musically, like Stevie Wonder, but. I don't know Brahms. I think it was one of the big classical fellows that lost his hearing. And still composed and all that. Uh, what I would let me see. Uh, I think I'd rather see. I would rather want to see, and just take in that sense before I would not be able to see anymore and hear. I
Right.
mean,
You
each one has its is necessary to function. So
yeah. No, you said that well, and we're going back to information a second. Why do you think humans collect or gather information?
Well, I mean, wow. How do I get that out? I'm like stuttering like one of the most brilliant people, Elon Musk. When when he's asked a question, I watch a lot of his content, and he is literally like stuttering because he wants to answer 10,000 things it right there, right now. So how to uh, put those together, in as quick as possible. Anyway, um, well, what's coming up, and I saw. Sorry, I got to come back to Elon Musk. Him having a panel, a lot of people there are talking about AI, and he says he is scared. uh, Whatever word he then used, you can imagine that. Uh, and he then said, "This is worse than." And then on a big screen, I don't know, 12-foot long, wide screen behind him, he shows a nuclear detonation, the mushroom, going up. So and it's unstoppable. I mean, as far as what happened here in the last 4 years and all this is the same as in the Roman Empire, except they didn't have the technology. Otherwise, madness is rolling like thunder. And intercontinentally, it's not. That's my just from what I get and see, and I'm politically zero inclined. Zero. I don't have the time. I'm 75. Every second counts. I have my guitar project here, 15, 20 years in the making to finish, move all this to Vienna, where I have an apartment downtown Vienna in the pedestrian zone, Art Deco building, beautiful, rent control for my grandmother still for like about $400 with internet. The next door guy, €4,000. So what am I saying? But the America that
So
I
you're
came here
saying,
for is
yeah,
gone.
yeah. So Thomas, you're saying the reason we collect information is survival. That's what I got. Now, is this need or want to collect information in us innately, or is it something humans invented?
Well, it's nature is best. Okay, so start there, or the animal kingdom. But humans, all man-made. Like for instance, religions. So all this is definitely it's outgrowing itself because of technology. There is too much of everything. I even include me. You go in a supermarket, want to buy laundry soap. There's 4 aisles of laundry soaps. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, everything, and with all this work and all the waste and all. I mean, I like. How about everybody scream? Would that help? No.
And so that was good answer. So Thomas, um, can you conjure up your earliest memory ever? Like, or one of your earliest memories ever? Can you describe it?
Well, a couple. I have when I was little. I was born in Weimar, Goethe's, the poet Goethe's, hometown in Germany. But the parents, my mother and my father, moved to Vienna. So that's what I remember. And it was in the apartment that my parents had. Um, so that room, I sort of remember it was like scary, and that place is still there. The building is all still there, wonderful. And then the other memory from then, which would be maybe the second one, only sort of, is running in the street. I fell over, bit my tongue. Sort of, my dad took me to the doctor. So those will be two memories there.
Do you do you think memory is more a curse or more a blessing?
Um, Well, let's say the best thing, obviously, animals got it down. Instinct is number one. Watch a cat walk or a dog. I mean, this is also right. They don't think. First commandment is you must not think, so to speak. So by that, and memory, then again, it's too much of everything. I mean, today we're exposed. I just recently opted up from Apple TV to the Fire Stick, of course, Amazon. I'm a total victim. I'm a victim. I couldn't be without Amazon. I have to admit that. For what I do, boom, boom, boom. Yesterday, I needed, for my Roth gig to print some labels that I made. Well, in the middle of it, my yellow toner went out, laser jet, and it was 9:30. I had it at 8 p.m. that same day. You know, so
Wow,
yes, oh
guys.
no, Bezos understood that all these guys, Bezos and Musk. I mean, Musk is a really brilliant guy. Bezos,
Yeah,
well, hey, how can you argue? But I thought, from the media here, what I saw is, you think Amazon is big, which it is, no question, but AWS. Amazon Web Services. That guy has all the servers with all the big carriers running on around the world. So
yeah, that's good. So you take advantage of it, and they help you. So,
yes, yes, yes.
do you, Thomas? Do you more pursue happiness or more pursue meaning?
Uh, well, let's see. Happiness. If I would have to find, for me, happiness, I can describe it is when I'm done with the system here and my guitars, which is with Eddie Clothier for 40 years, my partner in crime. He worked for Frank too. He designed Frank's parametric EQ on Frank's guitars. It's so specific Zappa sound. And so once I finish this here and have my stuff in Austria and hopefully avoid the earthquake, and then decide to have in Vienna, whatever it is, a few stress-free years, that would be like total happiness. The food in Austria, my whole life in America, I'm already 50 years, whatever. It's the food, I just can't, Austrian food, Austrian-Hungarian kitchen. Anyway, so that's what I grew up with. So that would be my goal. And, still, if I obviously have to work, whatever I do here or whatnot, and but it's just, and I mean, again, to come back to your first question, health, number one, and to be aware of that, because, I had a few accidents on my motorcycles here in LA, and the screeching halt that happens then, especially in today's time. On my scooter, that's all I ride. I have my 650 Bergman Suzuki Executive, best transportation for me in the world. I had up of 7 of Weiss guitars on there. One is triple neck though, but yeah. So I have about 500 pictures. That is a show in and on itself, So there you go. It's true.
And I believe it. I know everything you're telling me is true, and I
Right, and
love you.
I have to say this just to be you, and I always told you that back when lots of days, Bennett, right?
Bennett.
That you knew more about Frank than Frank knew himself. I
I
told
don't
you
know if
that
that's
more than once.
right, and I appreciate that compliment, but I try to me and you are pattern recognizers. We recognize patterns and we see the big picture, which is comprehensive awareness. But this question was made for Thomas Nordegg. What is faster, speed of light or speed of thought?
I would think actually the speed of thought. I mean, that's sort of the I don't know. I'm babbling now, but I preface here quick. In the 70s, I was totally into Albert Einstein. Right, just not that I understood, but I sort of, oh wow, okay, movement into his whole thinking process. Not that I could explain the relativity theories and all that, but nonetheless. And so in those days, these thoughts were all the time. How does things work? I mean, it's so deep. Like if I watch an ant and it crawls forward and makes a left turn, I ask myself, what made it do that left turn? I know I'm saying, besides the mechanism, if you like watch an ant like close, all these miracles, nature, whatever, beyond, to me, any human religion, whatever you call it, I don't. It's all to me. It's, so that's. But I think the thought is faster.
Yes, very good. And I love the name of your company, Time Speed. But you must have ESP because you anticipated the next question, Thomas. Do thoughts create emotions?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you, again, that's what me too included, and I'm a probably full jump in with AI, right? I already have, what Steve I gave me a Christmas present and Alexa, so, and I say right now, I would say, Alexa, play John Coltrane. Okay, so great. That goes on as long as I let it, and I can function. So that's all. This is all one, conditioning. You depending how what. I mean, I know now. Okay, the lesser you own, the richer you are, without abandoning a good lifestyle. Don't trust me. I'm so self-centered. I have whatever all my things, but at the same token, again, it comes back to health, and then your perspective. Everyone. It's. I mean, I can't believe, like I said, the elections, the half and half. How was that possible? But hey, we've seen in history, if you think a little, I mean, Muammar Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, Boko Haram, Stalin, endless. It's nothing new. And I remember I was born right after the war, 46. But I remember seeing in like big cities these streets that were as far as I could look, ruins. So how do you start there? So it's all, I mean, still have it good in America. I can't believe the thinking, that the global still a white supremacy concept. I mean, I hate the white race. I almost say that out loud, and I'm one of them. Wow. Okay. I'm sorry. No, but
don't be sorry.
In my opinion, right? If you think about evolution with the animals and stuff, like anyway, everything points like there was a band when I was out with Social Distortion, cult punk band, right? It was the opening band was called Degeneration. And that stuck to me. We are degenerating here, is what I see, and all this. I mean, sorry, BS that's going on in globally, and America, of course, poster boy. Who has the time? It's we are running out of time, and regardless, your Bezos or whatever, or the homeless on six, it's and I've sort of to myself created the time we are living in a device-driven existence. If you take my phone from me, I'm toast in 45 minutes, the longest, earlier, right? And that goes for everybody. Whoever says no, and there's people like David Lee Roth, he doesn't have a mobile phone, which you go, wow, So, but
that was good, Thomàs. That was really good. What do you worry about when you go to bed at night?
Well, the good thing about today is that it's gone tomorrow. So that's a start. But other than that, it's like constant rat race. Life is an obstacle run. I don't care who you are. Well, I see again, media, boom. You see these $80 billion residences, like here all over LA, Bel Air, and with like unbelievable architecture and all this. And I was saying to myself, well, to have that, you and I've seen it in jobs that I've seen with artists and stuff. This is all. It's such an obstacle run, left to right, top to bottom, up and down, nothing. I'm surprised that every day that it all still works in a way, But in Switzerland, there's a company called Relish Guitars. One guy now. Fantastic, like Rolex of guitars. I mean, the quality, with the modern design and all that. And I remember they invited me there. I was in Lucerne. You walk, there is, in Japan too, it's so clean, but in the peace of mind that there is not one piece of a cigarette in the street or anything like that. And just the whole, how it all works. I guess everybody has money in Switzerland, one place, so all that, but it's still, I think, I mean, again, here I'm contradicting myself when I say the lesser you have, the richer you are. I have my, my guitar system, which is, it's a big. If we would have managed to, I'm going to investigate now, by the way, with the situation with the Zoom to get that happening right the same all the time.
Oh, this is good though. This is good, Tom. We're doing really good. Stay there. Don't move anything because you're accomplishing a lot. This is what the next question is. Are you more afraid of new ideas or more afraid of old ideas?
That would have to be a dual-sided sword answer here, because there's old ideas that are not good, and a lot of them, and it's I mean, America, with the slavery and all, I mean, so that, but then the new ideas, like Elon Musk, I watched this morning, I've mentioned him so many times already, about his semi-trucks. I mean, ridiculous. The looks of the comfort, the safety, the factors, that guy is and he's like a schoolboy. He's like totally, but you see those, the acceleration, the less accidents, all the arguments. I listen in on it. So that's great, but AI will definitely take. By the way, so what I might be all wrong on it, but let me say what I think and what I've got from what I heard. So quantum computing, and Musk even mentioned quantum supercomputing. That is when it's into subatomic particles where ones and zeros are one, and meaning there is no waiting. Everything is instant. Okay, it's all there already. Right? So then the way I saw this also, of course, online, AI, the way AI works best, the more data, the better. And that's what it gets. If you look at me right now, you're looking down with your glasses, right? You're looking up to me, shaking your head in a certain frame. Every little, like an actor that doesn't even talk but expresses everything with the face. So how can my saying was a year ago, never can AI get that, to totally, really get inside, your cellular. But some examples, from what I've seen, this a game called Go, which I didn't know existed. It's way beyond chess. It's like 19 by 19, thousands of years old in China, right? And the AlphaGo, a group in England, supercomputer, their quantum computer concept, beat the European champion and the South Korean world champion non-stop. And the new one beat the new version they have beats now the first version they had that beat ever. And this is what it takes a quantum computer, let's say 2 hours to do, would take a supercomputer 10,000 years.
Yeah.
So I
You
mean,
did. That was really well put. Thomàs, let's go back. Who was your earliest role model or the person who had the impact on you within your immediate family? And what did you specifically get from them? Within your immediate family, who made an impact on you?
well, I would say my father, right? I always looked up to him. He was a architect, but he was working. He was the technical director of the Austrian Vienna Burgtheater, Castle Theater. So this is the biggest German-speaking language theater, in Austria, obviously. In Germany, it's of course a lot more. And he designed, after the war, when they rebuilt that theater, he designed a cylindrical stage. I think it was like 50 meters in diameter, huge, with interchangeable platforms while rotating and stuff. So a gigantic thing. So on that note, I saw the theater plays, all Schiller's, Shakespeare's Up and Down when I was little already. So that was always in the influence. And then, he had a camera, like a Leica or whatever. So all that inspiring me into that direction. But if you would ask what my music, how I got into the music, I don't know if that would be part. Yeah. Austria, they had the hit parade. So, when you look, German Schlager, hits like Schlager, they call. So that, but then my uncle from my father's sister's husband, he was a famous surgeon, playboy of those, had this unbelievable ordination. It was not in Vienna, but like Frank Lloyd Wright style. And when we visited, I was sleeping in his ordination, and I remember he had like Elvis Presley first time I saw that, right? Tutti Frutti and stuff. So played that, Harry Belafonte he had, and so forth. So that's how I got interested. Now, America, that's came into my consciousness, the United States, USA, cowboys and all that, and the movies, of course, Hollywood. And then came the Beatles. And by the way, I saw the Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention the first time in Vienna, Austria. I was a young concert goer, and all I can tell, it was like, wow, like open mouth, just like this, never seen before, and the music, how as always, Frank Zappa best, and then the Beatles came, and the next thing after the Beatles, I wanted to be in a band, then I was in the band, and then came, musically speaking, was the next thing was the song Mahavishnu Orchestra, Birds of Fire. That was an epiphany, like I could not. Dum, 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 Jerry Goodman, the violinist, forget it, Billy Cobham. So that, and in tandem, Chick Corea, Return to Forever, with Stanley Clarke and Al Miola. So those were like musically waking me up, and in Austria, I was, was in a band, and then I met, heard it. Well, the word was, "Who's the cat? Who's the guy in Vienna, the guitar guy?" And so it was a band called the Slaves, and the guy in this band, Charlie Ratzer, or Carl, but Charlie called him. He couldn't read or write, but play anything, just unbelievable talent, and I became his manager, to cut it short here. Don't ask me how could I do that? I have no idea. But with him, I went to America, and then second time I came back, I was a 72 through 74, 75, 4, yeah, and then in 75, and I went back with Peter Wolf, managing him, a keyboard player, Mozart at 4, type prodigy from Austria as well, and we made it to Hollywood, and the day after I auditioned at the Magic Castle, I was a really avid sleight of hand artist. Too long a story now to retract when and how that started in my after high school years, But I auditioned at Magic Castle, which successfully, and the next day the phone rang and, "Hi, this is Frank Zappa. Can I talk to Peter Wolf?" Whoa. And right after the phone call, in Frank's manner, we drove up right away. And Peter auditioned 2 days and got the gig. And, what can I say? Tommy Mars and how it all came together. Best, Frank Zappa. I mean, it's forget it. Yeah.
You've had an amazing life, and that's where we met, through the Zappa world. But we'll get back to that. Let's stay on your background a little. That was really well put in your concise and articulate, Thomàs. Thank you. Did your parents raise you a particular religion?
Not consciously. What or probably still am. God, is what am I? A Protestant HB, whatever it was called. But here's the funny, well, to me, always really intriguing fact that in this high school my parents put me, I started at the Lycée Français de Vienne in a French school. So I learned French, right, when I was little on up, kindergarten and elementary. And then they put me in this elite school that is actually like for diplomats and aristocrats, built originally by the Empress Maria Theresia, way back 1800, whatever, or even earlier. And they rebuilt it. So I was in that school, and we were like 30 in our class, right? 64. And there was a class, right, for religion. And there were like 5 of what I was, right? The other one were, I guess, Catholic, right? So and so. So, and I was always thinking, what is it that they tell them that they don't tell us, or the other way around, wondering there already, like sort of, So anyway, so that's, no, I was not raised at all. I mean, my grandmother, I think, took me, when my parents separated, I lived with my grandmother in that apartment that I have now in Vienna. And she took me to church maybe once or twice, or one time I remember, getting impressed. And I mean, you walk in the Vatican and you think, whoa, this is God's residence on earth. Okay, well done. Absolutely. I mean, endless hallways, the Garden of Eden. You look outside with Frank, my first tour with Frank, European tour in 72, 73, 76, I should say, 77. I remember walking in the Vatican the first time and like, oh my God, so. Yeah.
So, Thomàs, do you pray?
Not really. I mean, not like in the general format that you sort of would adapt to. I'm kind of out of space in a way, because when I start thinking deeper, you look at the sky wherever still possible and see all the stars, and forget it. How that I mean I couldn't. How like, okay, a little explanation here. My first like long 6 or 7 years, it was girlfriend in Austria, right? A beautiful girl, so I was so attracted. She was born in Jerusalem. So how much more Jewish can you be than that? All right, well, great. So, but the mother didn't like me because I was not of like a full whatever Jewish descendants. So, and to date, I'm 75. I ask, can anybody tell me what is the difference between a Jew and a non-Jew? I'd like to know. Okay, so all that stuff is all man-made, and it's all in special interest. You can see that, I mean, animals have so much more grace. Like a dog walks up, there's no second thought. It just anyway. That's just my
Right. No,
general.
that was good. So, Thomas, if God does exist, what would you want God to tell you after you die?
Okay, here, this is how I can explain my position, if that is even a term. I it's let's say, okay, Einstein or all the colleagues, Stephen Hawking, are super intelligent. They with mathematics, they've got deep, all proven. I mean, laws of nature, science, no discussion. But it is a dimensional stop that no one is not subjected to. The most, and I say this not without judging, but the most stupid person, if there is that, okay, to the brightest, smartest, full, I mean, visionary no, you can't. I mean, is the path of this a coincidence? No, not at all. It's all there. It's all. But forget God. What the white, let's say in Christianity, it would be the white guy with the one on beard and whatever, and the big sandals, or I don't know. No, I'm not saying this in any judgment or mocking anybody. No, not at all. Everyone to their, but then the Hindu, then Muslims, then I don't, God, no, endless. It's all a cult in a way, that everybody, whatever, as long as nobody hurts each other, and.
Yeah, do no harm is what my friend said. That's a great motto. Do no
Yes,
harm.
right.
So that goes right along with this. Do evil people exist, or does evil use people as a vehicle?
Um, it's that what comes here, very interesting aspect from a fellow called Jacques Fresco. You might have heard of not. He's died at 94 a few years ago, I think, and he was a visionary designer architect that came up with his project was called Venus Project, and he designed like cities, how the layout of cities for the future. He talked about magnetic trains 60 years ago, and self-driving with sensor cars and so forth, and he brings up in some of the interviews I watched, besides of his designs and stuff, where he says, you are always sort of the product of your environment, where you grow up, where where it all starts, where some fellow Aborigine fellow got in deepest jungle. You show him a clock, let's say a clockwork there. What does he? It's all. Oh, and then he brings up a harsh example, but I sort of could follow. I'm not going to probably quote it here right, but he said this some serial killer in England from the 1800s had he was victimized. His mother saw him at 6 years old, 7 years old, touching his private parts, whatever, and just threatened him. He'll be in hell. He'll be all this and this. So he tried to then save people, kill people to save him for getting into that. He explained it better and it made sense. But along those lines, you always if you're lucky and you have a nice upbringing in this civilization there of ours, whatever it is, but it's not getting better overall. I can't hide behind it. That's why when I get to Vienna, because at least the facades are all still there. Oh, by the way, I have to say this. American fellow called Jaron Lanier. You probably know him. I'm pretty sure you do. And the book in 2014, where he got the German Literature Prize Award, Who Owns the Future? I mean, I bought 10 audio CDs. Have I listened to them, all of them yet? No, of course not. When? Because in today's world, it's no longer who, what, where, how, or why, only when. And that goes for everybody. End of story. So Gerald Lanier says, who owns the future? Two-word answer, the internet. Look at us right now.
Yeah. No, I'm very familiar with Jaron. I've exchanged nice discussions with him. And it's on my notes because about 3 or 4 years ago, I asked you a mini version of this interview. I said, what's the most important W word? Who, what, when, why, or where? And Thomas Nordegg said, when. And I thought, your company's name, Time Speed. So, Thomas, this question is, how do you advise someone to deal with an enemy? But I'm going to set it up with a few modern thinkers' thoughts. Alan Watts says, if you acknowledge your enemy, you empower them. Coppola stole from the mob and the samurais, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. JFK said, forgive your enemy, but don't forget their name. And Fellini says, I need an enemy. So how do you advise someone to deal with an enemy?
Well, to begin with, I mean, if humans have any, don't get me wrong, I'm joking, any qualities, is to have some dignity, let's say, right, to start with. So, as I said, everybody is a victim of his circumstance. If yeah, there's so many walks of life. So I try never to judge anybody with what right do I have to do. I no. So if I mean I'm trying to think right now, actually, this very second, about do I have an enemy? Uh, I can't say I have really, per se, but any animosity, anything. I mean, why have there been, what have we learned, mankind, let's say, what, 10,000 years, is that what it is? There's wars going on today. The military is being, that's the most expensive thing that, and let's rock. I mean, that's the key almost. I mean, we have learned nothing. Watched last night, Dr. Strangelove. I can't believe it. I mean, and Kubrick, obviously, need no comment. The director of all time in my book. I mean, Lolita, or whatever. Barry Lyndon. I mean, you forget it. And. Yeah. Good thing I can recommend to watch is on, I think, Netflix, The Film Worker. That's his assistant.
I know. Okay. Yeah. Very good. Very good. In room 237, there's a lot. But Thomàs, let's go back to you saying, you basically said, I don't want to judge other people. That's a real fine quality in humans. We call it suspended judgment. Where did you get that from? The way your parents raised you, or on your own?
I think on my own, because well, yeah, I think so. I mean, that's sort of my instinct, to not. I would never engage in a fight alone. The mere danger of the time that stops and what you have to deal with. Like I said, driving my scooter. You know me, God, you know me from my Zappa years. I had so many scooters, Vespas in my Zappa years, then the Yamaha Riva space scooter, the first modern ones, and then 4 Honda Helixes, 4 Bergman CQs. So, well, I lost my train of thought now, but I was on a roll.
But it was good. You'll get it back. Let's go on, because we got a lot of ground to cover, and you're doing really good. You're being articulate, and I appreciate your time here. And you're enthusiastic. James Joyce was the first projectionist in Dublin about 100 years ago. He was in a theater called the Volta Cinema, and he basically checked out. He said, this is stupid. Why should I go inside a building and see a movie of a tree when I can go outside and see a real tree? And then years later, Faulkner said, sometimes the best fiction is more true than journalism. Why do we have to recreate things in order to get them? Why do we have to go to a theatrical play of people acting out life? Why don't we just live life?
Good point, especially in our day and age, as the new world order is rolling in. We have non-stop bombarded the internet, as we said before. So let's start right there, because the time that the computer is stolen. So to Steve Gates, Bill Jobs, and Tim Cook, I say for about 10 years now, every key depression that you do not have to make is worth $1.2 trillion today. And that's the bargain day, because the whole idea is, I thought, is the myth that computer will help us, right? And you see what we dealt with just earlier today. I don't have that time. I don't want to have it. This should work on my machine. There's nothing. I don't try to push buttons, because I would lose again, and I have to sign in again, and.
Right. No, that was well put. So, what first attracted you to being technical person. Your dad is raising, and you're seeing him work with cameras and architecture. But where did you go, well, I can do that? You know, I'm going to do that. What really led you to saying I can do that?
Well, you're talking about the guitar technician type thing, or in general?
Right, right. Basically, your career, if you wanted to say, is you're a good guitar technician for 50 years to the best
Right.
guitarists in the world. You know, you have, you know, everybody who's ever worked with you will say Thomàs Nordegg is the best. So
Well,
you've worked, and you're good at what you do. But as a guitar technician, when did you say, well, I want to pursue this as my career? Like, what kicked you over into that?
well, it was, as I mentioned before, in Vienna, the scene when there was a music scene. There were bands now, coming up, after the Beatles, and and Rats, the guitar player in the Slaves, they played rhythm and blues, James Brown stuff and like that. So wow, totally overwhelming. So there, and so I got in the music scene. I was in the band too. We actually made a single, with two sides, So all of that, more and more, in my fascination with Ratzer and Peter Wolf, then also because Peter Wolf came from a rich family, so we had had a B3, had a rehearsal room in his mother's house there, and all that, all plush, So, so that really started it, and then equipment, setting up, and over time now, Sonica, the result that my guitar system here now is basically thanks to obviously Frank, Juan Cucurulo. When he lived, he was my roommate for a couple of years. He had in his wall closet two Bradshaw refrigerator size racks that he created loops on, and was, yeah, God,
Well, that was good. Yeah, that was good. Now, here's a question. Marshall McLuhan says that everything we invent extends some humanness. So clothing is an extension of our skin. Knife and fork extends our teeth. Like the camera extends our eyelid. What does the guitar extend? What humanness? What humanness is extended by the guitar?
Well, by the guitar, it's really or even another instrument, but it's music. I mean, the guitar. What I have going on here is infinitely versatile. I mean, this is Hans Zimmer would have to would know what happened to him if I could show him this. I met him, by the way, a couple of years ago with at the Brian May event in Switzerland. But I think the music for me, the guitar is definitely a wonderful thing. I have a vast collection that I definitely want to show publicly, with all the stuff that I have the best guitars. Call him F1, stole the F1 Formula One super guitars, and the Time Speed Electronics, my partner, Eddie Clothier.
Yeah. And so I talked. Very good. I'm anxious to see that sometime. But the next question is, I talked to Michael Apted, who just passed away last week, 35 years ago. He's a film director, and he made a documentary on a Russian rock star. And this is when MTV was first starting. And I said, why do video editors feel so obliged to edit fast on MTV? It was flicker frame editing. And indeed, Abel Gance invented that in 1922, but this is when it became prominent, fast editing. Right. I says, why do they do that? He goes, because we've learned to take in information faster. So this is a question asked with a bias. Can we literally learn to take in information faster, or are we just brainwashed to believe we can?
Well, I am brainwashed to believe I can, so to speak, because I cannot, right? That's, it's normal. I put something somewhere. I disciplined myself over a lot of years to, if my tools are on magnetic rods, right? I use a tool, and if it's at the other end of the room, I bring it right back there after I use it. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I mean.
What do you think, Thomàs? Do you think it's literally possible for humans to multitask?
Well, my grandmother said that Julius Caesar and Napoleon could do 9 things at the same time. So we know that can't be because Frank Zappa said when I started with Frank and the band was complete to the rookies, he said, okay, you can only do one thing at a time. And coming from Frank, I take anything Frank says. I had a good a moment once that I wish I could remember. I said, Frank is always right, even when he's wrong. And Dweezil had this young Dweezil had a really smart Zappa-esque answer to that answer. That was funny. But yeah.
And you don't remember what Dweezil said?
No, and I asked him, and he doesn't either. He remembers the moment, but he doesn't remember the answer. Yeah.
He doesn't. That is beautiful to see. That's the gap. The gap is where the action is. The in-betweenness, the not knowing.
Right.
So, Thomas, what do you think, not what Werner Herzog or anthropologists say, what do you think the motive of the cave artist was?
Of the cave artist?
Yeah, what do you think their motive was? What you think they were?
Well, I would say they were so still healthy in their minds that was on the intuition, since they had the means, the hands and stuff to create something. I don't think they were thinking, well, we want to make sure that 2021 they know that we were here and this is how it's done, whatever type thing, So it was more, I think, by inspiration, if you will, instinct, let's say advanced cavemen, as you said, they wanted to create, and that reflects today, people, that's why there's artists, in the moment, I think not much thinking about, well, we have to make a time lock here,
Yeah, time lock. That is good. So, what's more important? I know it's both and it depends. But for you, deep down inside, Thomas, what's more important, conviction or compromise?
I would say compromise, though I'm sort of a more tend to convince myself when it comes to. I think I'm not saying I'm the last guy to say I'm right all the time, but in certain things I feel I'm totally right. But that is conviction. Like for instance, one example that is totally superfluous, means nothing actually, but to me it does. So I can't believe that on today's technical machines, I'm talking about music equipment, pedals, on the actual devices where there is a nomenclature on, that they do that, and even on screens, like this wonderful synth software I got yesterday. Unbelievable that you change a patch and it crossfades, and highest quality from world-class people, right? So why is the text in lowercase? This is a crime. No, this is, to me, the time it steals. If you see it big, you don't even have to look long. But the lowercase have to, not my eyesight. It's not my eyesight. I'm sorry. This is,
Yeah.
I created if ever where do you live? In Santa Monica?
Venice.
Well, you should really come by one day and check out Sonica here, because you should. Yeah. You won't regret it.
I know what you're saying, Thomas, because I feel the same way about all technological things. They should be color coded. Like to put in a chord, you got to go this way or this way. Well, no, just have the two red dots. It's
right.
So
right. All that. No, I'm the guy on the way we are wiring up Eddie and me, or trying to finish it. Sonica.
Yeah.
Here, this is all right angle connectors. It's color code full. I could tell you projects endless that we've been working on this, that we've been doing. All the labels that I made for Dweezil's pedals, for Vice pedals, all that custom in color. Color is first, okay? Let's start there. Excuse me, while you can see, or while I kiss the sky. I like to say that.
So, Thomas, you've accomplished a lot in your life. Put these three elements in the order of their acting upon your success. Luck, skill, and ambition. What played the biggest role second and third?
What you said? Luck,
skill, and ambition.
Okay. And you said what the biggest influences that my
Yeah,
influences?
in your accomplishments in your life, what played the biggest role, second and third?
Okay. Skill. I would say ambition first. All these. Right now I could show you 50 things that I should be doing right now. So ambition. Yeah. Then I would say luck, and I mean you have to have some skill.
Yeah.
Remember Al Santos?
Yes.
Yeah, he taught me early on. He was, when he became production manager of Frank. First he was monitor guy, and then
Yeah.
and he said one day, he said, "Well, you got to have a skill," And I said, "Yeah, yeah, you're right."
Well, that was beautiful because I think you're being humble. Where did you get your humility from? The way your parents raised you or on your own?
uh, I think on my own. I mean, again, to respect everybody. It's everybody's sort of a victim of their circumstance, if you will. Uh, how does it all work? Is it all totally preordained? Is it? I mean, again, I showed you before. There is no coincidence. If the way this piece here falls down, right? It's totally determined by all the laws of nature. So you start there. You might say, "Oh, wow, how?" I mean, this is what I say: to win this lottery today, which is almost $1 billion, is so easy. That's why we can't do it. Get it?
Yeah.
So there you have it. And first
Okay.
commandment, you must not think.
Must not think. Where'd you get that from?
On my own, I came up because once you start thinking, like was thinking, I remember Steve Vai, like he playing his runs, right? And I think, well, who decides what that next note will be in like these work runs? Where's that coming from? So to speak. So
No, that's well
the,
put. There's a big thing about science. You would love this. The word jujitsu in judo is like push and pull and finding that
mm-hmm,
balance. And
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
the word comes from soft and gentleness and art and science. That's where jujitsu comes from. So you're combining art and science. And there's a science because Steve Vai has this sense of technique, theory, and taste. These are the three
Right.
T's music. He's found the technique by practicing.
Oh,
He's learned theory by studying. The taste. Where do you get taste? Just a general question.
well, that is, again, that's the maybe the most beautiful thing. Not to get too dramatic here, but that's the personality. That is really, when you hear a musician, it's this fellow. It's so God, when Eddie Van Halen passed away, I was sort of even more made myself more aware, watching like for like 4 weeks endless Van Halen shows, and and Eddie interviews and stuff, and thinking, well, when I was in Austria, Jimi Hendrix, "Hey Joe," I heard, and said, "Oh my God, what didn't even know." Wow. So Jimi Hendrix set is a gold standard right there. And the next one was Eddie Van Halen, no question. I saw him at the Starwood and at the Whiskey, new, all brand new, not at all, being, but wow. So and I want to say this regarding David Lee Roth. That guy set a gold mark for all modern rock band frontmen, all of them. They
Yeah.
all took from him because the energy that guy has is like wow.
Very
But
creative person. And he's
yeah.
also witty. He used a line, he invented a line that I use at least once a month. Here today, gone later today.
Oh, but
Great
today
line.
you buy Mercedes. Today you buy Mercedes. Tomorrow you live in it.
Did he say that?
Yeah, that's in his book. He wrote a book. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Hey, I want to interview him. So, anyways, T.S. Eliot. Oh no, this question is about
It's 12 hours.
these major thinkers say there is no self-expression. So you sort of led us to think, it's personality and it's dramatic that they form this taste of the aesthetics of their sound, But there's Cecil Taylor, the great jazz pianist who's listed in Freak Out, said, I'm just a vehicle and this stuff just comes through me. And so the question is it more self-expression or more you're a vehicle for whatever's present? And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. They asked Ginger Baker where he got his drum sound. He said, I was in London when they were bombing, and it went like this. Boom, 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 boom. That's how the bombs went up. So then that's how he played the drums. Then they asked James Brown's drummer, how'd you get funk drumming? He said, there was a factory on one side of my house in Ohio, and there was a train track on the other side. So it was like, chicka-boom, chicka-boom, and he blended it. So the question's rather obscure, but just talk as you will. Is it more the dominant technology or culture or more self-expression?
I mean, it should be more self-expression, where you sort of, forget and don't think and just like for me on Sonica, it's my dream in Vienna when I have it, when I'm done and out of here, then I can play there all day long and never have a stop, free fall, so to speak, like the Avatar guy jumping down, flying forever. So I think that's anything else. I mean, one of my favorite people in my encounter, my Keneally, right? I mean, how brilliant can you get? How humble can you get? And what I mean, this album. Boil That Dust Speck from way back, Beer for Dolphins, right? Joe Travis, Brian Bella, the Holy Trinity, and they are so Satriani's rhythm section for 2 years already. So hearing that today, forget it. And those guys will play today with the intricacies that So where does that come from? Where does it come from? You don't even try to figure that out. It's yeah,
Great answer.
yeah.
But Thomas, can music making be egoless?
Can you music making be egoless?
Yeah, without
well, me, I have, I know a few, I can't play guitar, but I know a few Beatles songs. I know a few things that I know how to play that I little by little, acquired, but I could not play ever a full show or not even like maybe a full song. I was in the band, but that's, so it's, there's always, I mean, for instance, David Lee Roth, right? As I was, when he was talking about the band with Bissonette and Billy Sheehan and Brett Tucker, right? That was unbelievable. I saw recently a footage again. That was a crazy. Laurel Fishman invited me, I think it was her, to the Long Beach Arena dress rehearsal of that band when Steve Vai stepped into Van Halen, all right, persona. And it was ridiculous. And, and I was mentioning Dave had the ego ramp, right, to go out, the ramp that goes between the front rows, And so I think there has to be, though, I mean, with Roth, I'm now since August 2019, I'm more or less there, when we started in the band, and I've been helping on private stuff. But he's a really intelligent guy, right? And he can be, would I say that in front of him? Maybe not, preferably not, but he can be a real asshole, and which he doesn't have to be, I think. But again, we all have our shortcomings. Even him has insecurities. This is a guy that no interviewer ever had a chance, not one moment. He was so spun on, funny. He can go in a comedy store and do 2 hours, talking. Oh, he's so smart, and I always like to say people that are like where you would hope they are not like really assholes, I guess it would be an American word. They are because they can afford it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So there's
Yeah.
that element.
That was well put. Is perception reality?
This is like a Steve Vai. Did you hear that from Steve Vai? That's his big. He over the years now, as I've known, I still call him youngster. I can't, though he's 60 now, I guess, but I'm 75. So, but that's always his thing, his perception of reality, and he tried to bring forth many of his, thinkings and thoughts. It's so esoteric to me, But of course, you ask it face on. Um, it's you would think it's your reality. Everyone has their own view. It really the environment. If you're put right now on an island in nowhere, so that's whatever you get there, that's that. But I'm right here amidst whatever $50,000 of equipment and with the thing of the plan and or today whatever I have to go there, got to mail two things. You know, uh, I think everyone knows what's good and bad. I think that is inherent. But today's kids are different. They don't know. They cannot imagine how you dial the phone back then or whatever. All that stuff. They're a different. It's a paradigm, a different platform, and it's a computer. Everything is a computer.
Yeah.
Inevitable. That's it.
That was really well done. And Thomas, the poet T.S. Eliot said that poetry is outing your inner dialogue. So we all have this inner dialogue. What language is your inner dialogue in?
Say please one more time. One more time.
What language is your inner dialogue in? The voice in your head, what language is it in?
English. Yeah.
What form is your inner consciousness in?
Well, I was going to finish my answer before would be because yeah, I talk a lot to myself. I don't think it's a crazy thing, but when I like I said, I have right here. If the next time I'll do this much better, I'm gonna be equipped to do that, and I'll figure out the format because I see only half your picture all the time. I can see myself picture, but to show you, I've right here is a head rush power supply for the head rush looper. So I gotta make a label. I'm not just gonna sharp it up there. I can't. I have to do these things. It's all round cornered. It's all. It's just my way. So, uh, if I don't know, did I answer the question? Or,
You answered it fine. So Lewis Carroll wrote Alice in Wonderland. He said, I believe as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. Have you believed in any impossible things lately?
sometimes lately, I couldn't put that down, but sometimes things happen and sort of fall in place where you would think bingo, so to speak, where I sort of wonder, not like thinking, not trying to reason it out. How can you? How can you reason out anything? Forget it. Look what there's pictures from space. Yeah. So in that thinking, where I go, really, where something totally happened, or like I'm doing an email, and there's words from the TV, right, coming down, and I write a word. At that moment, I write the words, even not even just yes or no. Some complex word comes up, and the guy says it on the screen. So things like that, I do. I don't think there is a coincidence. That I'm sure of. Right?
Yeah.
So of course that then collapses. If you think, oh, it's so great, I met Frank Zappa, forget it. Everything else, I take for Jimmy Page. I was in Duran Duran 12 years. I was missing person day one till the end. And yeah. So
That was good. That's like Frank called that conceptual continuity, that there's this thread running through all, and
yes.
Marshall McLuhan called it complex clairvoyance. But
Mm-hmm.
there's another modern thinker, he works with movement and healing, and his name is Moshe Feldenkrais. And he says it's literally possible to identify a weakness and incorporate it to become a strength. Normally, we're taught to overcome a weakness. Tell me a weakness that you've incorporated to become a strength.
You have to reformulate that one more time. I'm sorry
Yeah.
about that, please.
Tell me, like people take a breakdown and use it to have a breakthrough, or they take a rejection and use it to have a redirection. So the woman who gave the poem at the inauguration, she stuttered like Biden, and she used poetry to get over her study or her stutter. So she used what's called a weakness to become a strength. So tell me a weakness that you've had that it became a strength, that you used it to become a strength.
Hmm. Uh, well, to to only speak when spoken to.
And so how did you use that to become a strength?
Well, I mean, if I understood your question correctly, with a girl, she it was so impressive because the spirit. I watched it. I didn't understand every word. I could, and there was something where I said, "Oh, okay," but on the whole, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It didn't even have. Could I repeat now one word? No, I couldn't. Right, because
Yeah.
I've got 10,000 notes files in my head right now. But she handled that. That was wonderful. That was exquisite, to me for today, and especially with what's been going on. I mean, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. This is
Thomas,
like Oliver Stone or Tarantino couldn't have scripted that one. Sorry.
Thomas, fill in the blank. Anger can be a productive emotion when
Well, if you had enough. but but I mean, I tell you, quick. I had on couple occasions this last year, right, with two friends of mine, like yeah, friends of mine. Okay, that I had moments where I lost it, not to attack anybody, but where I just ran up, I freaked out. Which I could have spared myself, right? Whatever. On one occasion, I ruined a headset, right? Threw a headset down, So it it's it it never pays off. Anything like that is no,
but it's beautiful because it's rare in your personality.
right.
The way Keneally put it in his notes, he says, if something goes wrong in Thomas' world, he says, I'm having technical difficulties. So
Yes.
this is a question right from Frank Zappa. What is beyond love? We settle for love, but what is beyond love?
Well, I can't claim I'm an expert on love either. I try hard to love myself, which is really where you should start to begin with. I think. How can meaning to not to pat yourself on the shoulder or anything, but just to be at peace within yourself, and then accordingly to your whoever, to your next fellow, to your friend, to your foe, and respect everybody's opinion. I mean, yeah.
How, Thomas, how do
And
you?
love, I think, I mean, what's beyond love, and I'm looking at Frank sitting here on the toilet. I got him. I wish you have to come by. You have to.
Okay,
You have
I
to.
will.
There's no way around that. But uh, you know, Frank, again, to the body of work is the physical proof, right,
Yeah.
of his thing. But he was. I don't even know how he did. I'm sure you've seen the movie Zappa, the Alex Winter one, right? Where you
Yeah.
see the young picture and how he like work nonstop, work, and the coffee and then all that, and so that was his not escape, but he wanted to really create in the way he played the guitar solos, where he went there. I mean, I always think the shut up and play your guitar with Calyuta and Cucurulo. That's the forget it. The interaction and Vinny Calyuta, by the way, forget that. He was my roommate for a year and a half when he got the gig with Frank, right? And oh my God, he's that's the worst thing I can actually say, but he's the best drummer probably on the planet in most everything, you know, from Megadeth to Faith Hill to Herbie Hancock to whatever. Sting, Jeff Beck.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's endless. So Thomàs, how do you find peace of mind?
uh, is easy answer actually, real peace of mind, but it's easier said than done. Is if I, like today, like yesterday, like tomorrow, if I have things to do, right, and I manage to sort of stick to the track, because you know, you do one thing, all of a sudden two curveballs come, life comes in, right? If you plan to fail, you fail to plan, I give that, but then there's life. So uh, you know, peace of mind is if I have, after like 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, I feel, yep, I have a result. I sort of, you know, just for my own, I got that accomplished. That gives me makes me feel better. Of course, if I get whatever money in the bank, you know, okay, a little cushion, you know, it is. This is all the whole thing. I need 100K straight out. Then I could right now stop, delegate, totally get all my stuff done, wire up the boom boom, and get to Vienna, and then be at ease until whatever the call, until you know, until
Right.
the until the next dimension.
Well,
No, because no, because how can anyone say, well, you know, you die and then you all that? I mean, I'm not. I let them say that, but I can't. You can't. No one. You can't imagine how it was the universe created. And I'm no disrespect now, but when I hear, well, so and so many billion years ago, the Big Bang. Excuse me. Where was that? The Big Bang? That just. I mean, forget it. It's a stop. It's. I don't care what science or how smart. I don't care. Even Frank Zappa couldn't tell me.
yeah, that was good. Thomàs, can you forget to die?
Um, well, I have to admit, these days, right? And you know me, I'm the scooter driver. I had my serious calls, my accident here in LA. But these days, I drive. I constantly apply a statement that a traffic school teacher made in the late 70s when I went to traffic school in LA. Sort of had to readapt my driving style from Vienna to Austria to here. And this guy said the best way to avoid an accident is to think about one all the time. So I have to drive that way, because the accident in 2019, where my whole wrist was here cut, I mean, my totally screwed up, still is, right? I never saw that coming. Never, not in a zillion years, but it did happen. So today, I don't know if you notice it where you are. In anywhere in LA, I constantly hear cars revving, motorcycles, nonstop all day long. Even on my Dickens Street right here, this is the newest. And police, you don't see barely a police anywhere anymore. So it's free for all. You know, it's dangerous. Very.
I ride I ride a bicycle and I know exactly what you're talking about. You have to be super aware. If you were walking down the street today and you met yourself as a 12-year-old, what would you say to your 12-year-old self?
Well, uh, be really careful, you know, follow, you know, your instinct, the laws of nature, learn, or whatever your instinct is teaching you anyway. But uh, uh, the lesser you have, the richer you will be. No question. Quality, right? You know, have a nice coat. Why do you need 50 pairs of shoes? Because when are you today? We're drowning in the internet. The product, there's products out there. I don't know why. And I am, you know me, I'm a junkie on that stuff, whatever. But no, you have to have the fastest computer, the best communications tool. Otherwise, you're toast. That I will tell him too. Until the AI snaps in, and the whole thing is, we are just clones, you know. Well, you know,
Thomas,
my favorite, by the way, my favorite three Frank Zappa words are them or us.
right, very good. And so, Thomas, on what occasion do you lie?
Um, well, if I lie, I try to, of course, justify it to myself, right? And Not really frequently, but you have to lie sometimes. Hey, I couldn't pick up the phone. I was on my scooter, right? Which because if I can't pick up a phone call, or oh, I only saw this text here yesterday when I saw it 5 days ago, but didn't act on it immediately. As you know, you want to read?
No, that's all
You
right. We only got 10 more minutes, so we're closing
Well,
out
you know
here.
what it reads on my computer. I'll show you that one really quick. Read what's on my computer, the screensaver, what it reads. If you can, hold on. Let me bring it in, if I can.
Yeah. Time speed. We're always now.
We're
That's good.
always equals now.
Oh, we're always
Equals now. The word now
now.
and the word always mean the same thing. I found out. Because
Oh
all you
my.
have is right now. You define it now. Now we're talking. Define it now photography. 10,000ths of a second. Going to quantum physics. Now is
Yeah.
only possible because of what was now before. Whatever will be possible is only possible because now. That's why past times, future is now.
Oh,
How's that?
that is the
And that's what
McLuhan
I'm
line.
saying. To win the lottery tonight, fellows, whoever's listening, is so easy. That's why you can't do it.
Thomàs, there's two big great things you evoked. Was McLuhan says the future of the future is the present. And then you shot that great clip of Steve Vai going, it's right now. No, right now. You shot
Right.
40 hours of video you shot for Frank.
Right. Oh,
Did
yes,
you
yes,
watch
yes.
all, did you watch all 40 hours or did you just give
No,
them?
no. I mean, Joe Travis has
He
he's got
got
the
them.
whole. No,
You know,
it was at least over 100 shows. I know it was.
right, but somewhere on the internet it says you shot 40 hours. They should release all 40 hours of the Thomàs
Yeah,
Nordegg.
yeah. Well, that's the Joe Travis. At least he is the Waldmeister, and he's there's some footage supposedly of mine, and I got credit too on that movie, in that Zappa
Oh yeah,
movie.
that's
Yeah.
good. So we just got about 10 more minutes. I thank you, and I'm going to ask you a few more questions. Then Clinton's going to ask you a question, and then I'll finish it up. Which way should toilet paper go off the roll, over or under,
I have it behind, under, from the wall side.
and why?
Because it's less obtrusive. I know how to use it, so I know I always have enough to pull there. 3 ply. It makes to. Otherwise, it yeah, on the front. It's a low profile, to quote
Good.
Patrick O'Hearn. Low profile always.
Low profile. And so, if a publisher was to release your autobiography off the top of your head, what would the title be?
Well, it could be my little thing you saw on the computer. Time
Good.
speed, where
We're all
always equals now.
very good. And they want to scent the glue in the binding of your book. What smell would it be?
Preferably zero.
Zero smell. I've never had that answer. And they want to build a statue in your honor. Where would you want it displayed and what would it be made of?
Whoa. Damn. Damn. Statue. that was maybe unrelated, but what comes to mind. I bought my first cell phone, the Motorola Brick, 1983. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember I was so proud. I was driving without helmet, the Hollywood freeway into Hollywood, on that phone for $3 a minute, right? And so forth, just overwhelmed. And I remember at one occasion, whatever, I had it always with me, right, scooter. So get off somewhere where I was parking, and this parking attendant, black guy, he goes, "Whoa, well, that's fancy! Wow, God!" And I showed it to him and said, "God, I got a lot of women to talk to." So he was all impressed. But repeat your question quick, and I'll be.
Yeah. They're going to build a Thomàs Nordegg statue.
Yeah, got it.
Where is it displayed, and what is it made of?
Let's see. Maybe made of. Would be made of Velcro.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Right, contoured, and they would have to anyway sort of replicate my jacket. Now the jacket with 25 pockets, fully organized, all that, all Velcro ported. Of course, that's I can't afford. If I would lose my wallet, and forget it, double barrel checkout later. You know, how would I replace all this? And with the phone, at least not that I want to. I mean, my phone alone is what I did on the phone to my phone is I think pretty smart. I can spin it at warp speed for like half an hour. It'll spin. I put a mesmerizer, the things on the. Yeah, I modified my phone big time. It's good, and I have it on my scooter, instant Velcro mount in the dash or in front.
Okay, Thomàs, tell me something good you never had, but you never want. So it's good, but you never had it, but you don't want it.
Okay. I never had it, and I don't want it either. Well,
But
as I mentioned, as I mentioned before, all these well, that really applies to everything. Like for instance, David Lee Roth's Pasadena, South Pasadena estate, 3.5 acres, Monte Carlo style, Saint-Tropez, Mediterranean, wonderful building, but 1923, so it is, decrepit in place, as well. But that's the charm. I even told him, I said, if I had Jeff Bezos' money, I would not redo that. I'd just leave it as is, just make sure everything works. But
well,
I
that's what
haven't. Actually, I didn't answer the question where the statue would have to be.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
You got recall. Go ahead.
Hold on.
Where
hold
was
on. That's hold on. God damn it. That's no. I'd like to. Not that I wouldn't. I'm way too shy to even low profile, as I said. But well, it could be in which might be something happening in the Nordegg Museum. Like my apartment in Vienna is a little museum, if you will, already, and let alone all this here. You never know.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a couple more, then Clinton's going to ask you a question. We're wrapping it up, and it's really been fun, Thomàs.
Okay, yes.
If you were in a vat of vomit up to your neck and someone threw a bag of shit at your face, what would you do?
I'll give up. I guess.
Okay. You've been really generous, Thomàs, laying your cards on the table.
No, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and you said a lot, and I appreciate this. But Thornton Wilder said that art is confession. Art is not only the desire to tell one's secret, it's the desire to tell it and hide it at the same time. What's it really all about for you?
Well, again, I'm sort of shy, introverted. I mean, a magician would be a good example. You want to show it, and I was, man, I'm 75. I'm on my way out. I have nothing to prove. I was really good. I auditioned at the Magic Castle, 5 people sitting there, and Di Vernon, who my teacher in Vienna when I started this when I was at law school, this old guy gave me a book of Di Vernon, passed away already, but he called me over and said, I'd like to, if I need work. The next day is Frank Zappa's phone call, But I was really obsessed, and that was the beauty, you don't want them to know, you how you do this and create that myth, make it so whatever, a little more interesting or what have you, But this goes with everything. I mean, Frank Zappa, when he presented his shows, every show was an event. There was never, I remember sometimes saying to Frank, like, I thought, great show. I said, Frank, that was a great show tonight. He goes, we sure fooled them.
Really
Frank.
good. Yeah. So, Clinton, go ahead. You got a comment? I'm sure you do. That was like the history of cell phones and high tech right there, Thomàs.
Yeah, well, yeah. All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, yeah. You work with electric guitars, so I suppose it's all analog signal processing, then, eh?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I think I got. Yeah. I know I do. I have the most eclectic or advanced in terms of technology. I met a fellow Dr. Andy Hildebrandt in 2012. It was at the NAMM show. He's the owner, was the owner, and he sold the company of Antares. Antares is the auto-tune platform for auto pitch correction, right? So which big stars use. Best female artist, Lady Gaga. I'm sure if she's jumping on the trampoline, flying around and all that. So anyway, and he created a project called a product called ATG, Autotune for Guitar. Just brilliant, more a pet project. Never made it really commercially. I mean, it actually did. PV created a model, P200 was called, where they had the fundamental version of that installed. And I saw it at the show. This guy plays a guitar and then he detunes it and it's totally out of tune and pushes that button, strums, push it, and it's totally in tune with the same sound. So this technology, I have it here multifold in guitars, and not to have that today is you are not only totally in tune and intonated all the way from fret 1 to 24, whatever you have, but you have all these different features: pitch shifting, open tunings, doubling 12 string, 7 string, E and A or E and B,
you don't need tunings.
So
you don't need to name any names, but are there artists out there playing songs and switching keys or changing the tuning of their guitar digitally and not actually tuning their guitar but between songs?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that has been existing before. Like Roland really was the first guys who wrote the VG8. When I saw that totally life changed. The guy plays the guitar and there's a keyboard playing all along, saxophone, all that. And so that obviously has developed. It's really is quite advanced today. But this guy's creation, it checks the note 8,000 times a second. And I remember many times I asked him, I said, how does a computer, how does the chip know when you bend the note where you want to bend to, what you want to express? He explained it to me many times, and I still never got it. Because he asked me, there's even in Steve's guitars, Steve has like the Sustainer by Alan Hoover, created the Fernandez Sustainer, first one, and then the Sustainiac, which he's having now. There's actually no other product that does that. There's a pedal, the Digitech Freak Out, which was one best in show. I predicted that the day before, like 3-4 years ago, and where you have a sustain that rings along on that pedal, only one note. On the Sustainer and the guitar, it's a driver and the PC board that will chime along. Your best friend couldn't do better, and if you know how to use it, you learn that. Steve Vai, that's one of his main ingredient tools, that he uses wisely and effectively. But again, all that is meaningless if you would see my place here, right? There's nothing like it in the world. And again, I'm not here trying to impress, believe me, but it's true. And sonically, I can go infinitely whatever, like Hans Zimmer is. I want to bring him over maybe eventually. That will be a system. What I'm doing now with my partner Eddie, we already created the harness. It's full scoped out, diagrammed out, but it'll take me 3 months to wire 3 boards: master board, MIDI Madness, pedal de jour, and the rack, and that's it. So yeah, I want to finish that up. That's after that. By the way, I am done in this lifetime. I'm 75. I can just relax and observe and enjoy this system, and the guitars. So, any more questions with the guitar that I can answer?
Clint, you got any more? We're wrapping it up. You got one more, or that's it?
Oh yeah. So you were talking about going from a MIDI guitar. Was the first one you mentioned? Yeah. So that's sample based. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's really cool. So you are into everything. That's just really fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, there was the 13-pin, the hex platform from Roland, and Fishman has the triple play, which is even wireless, where you can connect to a synth. I mean, there's always has been. Quick story sidebar. In '99, I started with Vi, and I had part of my payment with my Canita was a VG8 a VG guitar from Roland, a Stratocaster black one, that I did some modifications to. The lights in guy in England, Martin Sims, put the dots, light up blue lights front and on the side. The wireless was in the guitar, the first digital wireless by Guy Coker, the guy today it's still with line 6 Yamaha now, digital wireless that I used with Vi. Vi saw this guitar, I brought it to rehearsal, said, can I play this in Little Alligator, one song? He played it, no cable, no belt pack, so he threw it at me, I caught it and all that stuff. At the end of this tour, he asked me if I want to partake in the design of a new Vi model with all these things. And so this triggered that project. Now me having Sonica here and all these guitars, that triggered all that. So that's how but again, all this is meaningless. Get a guy, Guthrie Govan, or anybody, Jeff Beck, give him a guitar that has only one string missing or whatever, you'll still hear the guy. You know what I mean? It's only between the finger and the string. Frank Zappa, who can, that's the beauty. I'm sure that the Frank Zappa's that ends in music is best. His phrase, beauty is not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Frank is amazing. And so we're going to wrap it up, and that's beautiful. And I will recommend that people can go to YouTube and see Thomàs showing off a lot of what he just talked about on a couple of YouTube.
I want to add here, I am about within a month, hopefully, I will start, planned already half a year, to pump out content where I even play sounds that people will back off, literally. I can do it. The internet, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, a minute, something even long, getting to explain my things. I have the most interesting thing there is, literally. And sonically, no contest.
Yeah, and also those 40 hours or the many videotapes that Thomàs shot of Frank. There is a clip of Thomàs playing Muffin Man on this little mini guitar in one of Frank's videos. So Thomàs, we'll wrap it up with two last questions. The first one is, what's the healthiest cultural shift you see developing today?
Well, one would think to agree there is no need for wars. Forget it. It's the neon sign in the sky is greed, and it's been like that from before there were neon. Okay, that it's always I want this. I mean, I was brought up not fanatically, but always as a kid, where you see this guy, wow, this, oh, look at this, I want this. Today, all there is the best communications tool and the best computer. The rest, whatever, and low profile. So
yeah,
you don't, and model citizen. You have to beat the system without breaking the law. You have to do that. I mean, we have to agree. I mean, how can the whole thing is a mess, like it hasn't, and not, well, whatever. There you have it.
A lot of beautiful thoughts. And in closing, Thomàs, thank you. What gives you the most optimism?
Well, I have to say, I hope that with what's going on now, this new situation here in America, that can, as America is always the role model, so to speak, or any which way you want to formulate that this can be improved. I don't know how, because the time and the internet is we're so victimized by our device-driven existence. Musk called it a cyborg, the phone, right? Our chip, and God knows with what's coming. It's just I can't be too optimistic, that this world pandemic. I mean, well, okay, so what else, the earthquake? I mean, I'm thinking about it every day. And Ross, in my dialogues with him, he's very conscious about that too. He talks about it all the time. He's got supplies, big time, all stored away and all that, and labeled. So I'm not too optimistic, but again, the world's wonderful. I mean, forget it. We are just really been ruining it because of greed, because of all that.
Well, Tom,
Switzerland is wonderful. I would say that. We'll go to south of France on my scooter.
Yeah.
Ooh, oh la la. You know, that's what I want to do. Stuff like that. That's what
Yeah.
I want to do. In Vienna, go to the Salzburg Festival. You know, my father was there. They built that stage too. Herbert von Karajan, you know, conducting. You know, culture, little, you know, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And there's only two kinds of music, good, and I always said bad, but I think Duke Ellington said good and the other kind. You know,
Well,
but nothing's better than music.
Nothing's better than music. And Thomas, you've helped so many of the greatest musicians ever, and you've been such a good friend. And thank you for your time today. It's really been wonderful. And thank you, Clinton. I'll see you guys in the
come on down, you know.
Yes,
Okay?
I will come over. Thank you.